Ever since he came into our lives, he became one of the family. But now he's gone. With Fond Recollections memorial plaques and website, we can upload all our photos and videos of him. Visit fondrecollection.com today and cherish the happy memories of your loved ones.
Chapter 6. Repercussions. Nicole Snipes felt like she needed an outlet for the rage that she had built up inside of her. Dealing with Scotty and Stacy was not enough to satisfy the disastrous storm, so she decided to turn her attention to Ruben. Ruben Rose must be punished. As the head of the nursing department, it was his job to keep a handle on his nursing staff, and he had failed miserably. The worthless nurses that he had hired had no idea what it took to ensure patient care at the hospital. It was Ruben's duty to ensure that the nursing staff he hired was at least competent. Nicole had had enough. She was not going to allow any of these nurses working in the NICU to remain employed at St. Mark's. The hospital's reputation would suffer because of this incident, and it directly affected her impeccable reputation. Nicole Snipes' reputation was unimpeachable. Everybody should know that. It should be common knowledge, she thought. Ruben's face was strangely blank as he sat in front of Nicole, a faraway look into his eyes. Nicole snapped her fingers to get his attention.
Ruben,
she said.
I need your utmost attention, so focus.
Ruben looked startled, as if he were not expecting to be caught out.
Yes, ma'am. I'm listening,
he replied, in his signature raspy voice. Many assumed that hospital staff were supposed to be healthy, but Ruben smoked like a chimney. Pressures of the job, Nicole supposed. She did not care if it was not on the hospital premises. Ruben could choose to kill himself in whatever manner he chose. Nicole really did not give a damn.
I need you to fire all the nurses that were working last night in the NICU.
Nicole told him flatly. Ruben gasped.
All of them?
He said, shocked.
We will be severely understaffed, and I'm sure the nurses will be facing criminal charges for this morning's events. Miss Snipes?
He tried to explain. However, knowing her decision to fire the nurses was simply to put on a show at this point, Nicole was not having it.
Oh, you do not worry about that. There are hundreds of qualified and responsible nurses that will give a lot for the opportunity to work at St. Mark's. We have an impeccable reputation and people want to work here for now, but we must act quickly. I intend to keep that reputation,
Nicole said. Ruben Rose was not happy when he heard this. It took a long time to train nursing staff to adjust to the way things are done in any department, and training nurses new to the hospital's NICU, even those with previous NICU experience, was going to be a task and a half.
It's going to take forever to train new staff,
he whined.
Stop your whining, Ruben.
Nicole scolded him.
When I tell you to do something, I expect you to do it without question.
Ruben swallowed and spoke.
It will be done.
Nicole tapped her red acrylic nails on her desk.
Oh, and did you have the opportunity to obtain the statements from the security?
Ruben's normally cheery face fell.
I haven't gotten the chance yet,
he mumbled.
Well, you have to do it. First thing after leaving this meeting,
Nicole instructed. She got a nasty, pinched look on her face.
Believe me when I tell you, others will face the possibility of termination. The NICU nurses are the first to be fired, but not the last. Expect mass carnage as the investigation unfolds,
she said blankly. Ruben's forehead was dotted with perspiration. The CEO's words had scared the crap out of him, and he knew that Nicole meant every word. She could be very intimidating when she wanted to be, and right now, she had intimidated the crap out of him. He did not want to fire anyone, but he knew that if he stood up for his staff, she would fire him without a second thought. He had no choice but to obey. Let the bodies hit the floor, he thought sarcastically. He would do as he was instructed. He needed his job. Ruben Rose was liked around the hospital. He was a plump white man with a ruddy complexion and a penchant for laughter. An expressive man who could cheer up any patient. He was an out and proud gay man who was an active member of the LGBTQIA+ community. He wore a tiny rainbow badge on his scrubs and never denied his truth. He joined the nursing profession because he wanted to help people. When he had gotten the job at the hospital, he had worked his butt off, meticulously performing any and every task that he was asked to do until he reached the top. He was competent, and he cared deeply about his patients and his nursing staff. He did not like confrontation, and the fact that he was asked to fire his NICU night staff weighed heavily on his conscience. He did not want to do it. Just the thought of it made him feel deeply uncomfortable. He sighed as he thought about all the nurses on the NICU staff. Bright-eyed Renee, who liked to sing to the infants when they got colicky. Naughty Linda, always ready with a dirty joke to make staff members smile. And the anxious but cute Kimberly, who cared deeply about all the patients that came through the ward. He knew all the NICU nurses personally, knew about their lives, hopes, and dreams and fears. He had visited the NICU as frequently as possible. He loved babies and liked to think his presence there gave the newborns comfort. Reuben wanted them to feel less alone since they were away from their parents. He called it sharing the love with the little babies. Their deaths had devastated him. Reuben had cried when he had first heard the news. As he walked out of Nicole's office, his eyes filled with tears. He noticed Scotty Allen pacing quickly through the hallway.
"Scotty!"
Reuben yelled out.
"Scotty!"
He yelled again, as Scotty was not slowing down.
"Scotty! I need to have a quick word with you."
Scotty sighed and stopped. Reuben wanted to have a chance to talk to him before they each began their respective investigations. Reuben placed a hand against the wall, winded from trying to match Scotty's pace, trying to catch his breath. Scotty started briskly walking towards Reuben, but ended up running into Tracy Kites, a hospital volunteer whose main job was to deliver mail around the hospital. She was whistling as she wheeled her mail cart down the hallway. Tracy blocks his path with her cart and shoves the package in Scotty's hands.
"Mr. Allen, I need you to please sign for your package,"
she tells him. Scotty absentmindedly signed for the package and continued to walk towards Reuben Rose.
"Reuben, let's head towards the elevator,"
Scotty said, and they started walking together down the hallway towards the elevator.
"Scotty, Nicole has asked me to fire the entire nursing staff,"
Reuben said tersely.
"I had a feeling this might happen, but doesn't she know that they will probably face criminal charges?"
Scotty said sadly.
"We need to figure out a strategy to ensure that something like this never happens again at our hospital."
It was unusual to see Reuben looking so serious, but he nodded and said,
"We must. It's not just about our jobs. It's people's lives depending on it."
Scotty said gravely.
"So, what do we do?"
Reuben asked Scotty, hoping he had a plan.
"Well,"
Scotty replied,
"I have a few ideas. This is what I was thinking we should do."
Several months later. Over 6 months had gone by since the tragedy at St. Mark's Baptist Hospital. July had just begun. The 4th of July celebrations were right around the corner. Many members of the hospital staff had requested vacation days so that they can have an extended holiday. The NICU nurses that were working back in December had all been replaced. The hospital, thanks to Nicole's iron fist, was running smoothly with no major glitches. Ever since the tragic death of the newborns, Nicole had ensured that nursing rounds in each department had increased. She had also authorized the purchase of all new biomedical equipment, hiring an overseer to make sure the machinery was always running in shipshape. The hospital board of directors had also created a staff outreach program to offer mental health support along with trauma and bereavement counseling. This initiative helped the staff members who had gone through the devastating incident with the babies. These plans were all proving to be effective as the hospital was moving in a positive direction. However, with change, though, comes challenges, because there is always an adjustment period. The staff needed time to get used to the new normal. A lot of staff members refused to adjust, and they quit working at the hospital as months progressed. Scotty and Reuben had produced a strategy together to help keep staff motivated, enough not to quit, but it was not as efficient as they had hoped. Still, all was not completely hopeless. The new nursing staff Reuben had hired had proven to be competent and quick. Scotty was helping oversee the care of all the patients in the critical care department. He started spending more time at the hospital and taking the time to get to know every member of his team more extensively. Nicole had made good on her threat of mass terminations. Heads had rolled and she fired the biomedical engineers, the NICU night shift nurses, and even a few supervisors. She wanted to revamp her staff, and she managed to do that quickly, if not painfully. A lot of people suddenly found themselves unemployed, but she managed to find adequate replacements for the people fired in record time. Each new member of the staff was vetted exhaustively. The hiring process was rigorous, from multiple interviews and tests to stringent background checks. Only the people who managed to pass through these Herculean trials were hired to work at the hospital. The problem was not hiring new people. The problem was getting them to stay. The work was tough, and Nicole's new unforgiving regime had a lot of people breaking down and quitting. Staff retention became a problem. So by July, St. Mark's Baptist Hospital had a revolving door of staff coming and going. Remembering names and faces became a problem for veterans who did not quit. There were large employment gaps in key departments for certain periods. The domino effect was felt by the entire hospital. Nicole and her board were forced to offer large signing bonuses as incentives for registered nurses to join the staff. Once the word of the large staff turnover started getting around, the holiday period would be tough, with so many staff members having requested vacation days. The hospital would be insanely understaffed. The staff shortage was felt especially by the critical care units that required staff to be always present. The NICU nurses that were fired after the newborn incident were now facing manslaughter trials. They had no excuse for leaving the newborns unattended. Unit supervisors had to beg on their hands and knees, pleading for their staff to work on 4th of July. However, the pleas were ignored. The staff were entitled to their vacation days, and the hospital legally could not forbid them from taking earned days off. Plus, if they tried any sneaky tactics, the nurses would simply quit, and that was the last thing management at the hospital wanted, for more staff to quit. Nicole and all the hospital management were in panic mode, but tried to show a composed front. They had to find a solution to their staffing problem. They could not afford another incident like the New Year's Eve tragedy.
So much for hanging out with us. If you had fun or picked up anything from this episode, please assist us by hitting the like, subscribe, and notification buttons. You can also comment and share our content. These small things really help our channel and mean a lot to us. Also, special thanks to our Patreon supporters. You guys are the heartbeat of this channel, and we can't thank you enough for being so generous. If you would like to join our Patreon community, please click on the link below. You can contribute as little as $5 per month. You can get all kinds of perks. You can even buy merchandise of your favorite characters at our shop store. Click on the link provided below. That's going to do it for now. Until next time, remember you are cherished by us. So be kind and know that we consider you as family.